Greetings, fellow humans. I'm Chris Thompson, and I'm podcasting from the Hypnotic World Epicenter, Toronto, Canada, and I'm mad as hell. And today, NLP and hypnosis trainer Mike Mandel and I will tell you why. So stick around.
Disclaimer, there's a lot of stuff in this podcast that frankly pisses us off, but we admit it, so it's okay. Lucci.
So I was rather annoyed. More than annoyed, really, when I think about it. But what are you going to do? The damn fool of a man accused me of being a witch. And that's nothing short of vituperative. On the other hand, whatever happened to that ancient calm feeling that at one time was normal for all of us?
We are not witches! So let's welcome to the very central point, the magic circle that isn't really there, the magus of mesmeric magic, the second best hypnotist who's ever lived, and the Keith Richards of hypnosis, Mike Mandel.
Do
you know what's really funny here? I'm reading the intro line, and you've spelled your own last name with 2 L's.
Shut up, I have not.
Which you always tell people not to do. Right here. Look at that. It's right there.
It is not.
Yes, it is. Look, are you having a breakdown?
How has that happened?
He's fixing it on the fly.
Something else
Live,
to be annoyed
he's fixing
about.
It. There you go.
Oh, man.
Yes, that's one. So this is actually an episode all about pet peeves, which is going to be fun. But we're not just going to be irritated. We're actually turn this into useful communication stuff.
We're going to try and fail. Look, but if you look at it, notice we skipped right by your greeting. You said everything normally.
Did I? Yeah. Right.
Greetings, fellow humans.
Yeah. He just rewrote my name as Dick Thompson. Okay.
Brilliant. Okay. So let's get on with this. Now, this is interesting. What's our banter? AOH is coming up in May.
AOH is actually getting really close to being full. Usually around this time, a couple months before the classes when people start signing up. So 5 days in Toronto with us, Monday through Friday, May 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, the week of May 8th.
Come out and change your life.
In Toronto, freaking awesome. It's 40 hours of hanging out with us, all 9 to 5 every day, basically. And
super
amazing
hypnosis
fun.
Skills.
Yes.
Amazing demos. You'll be jumping in the deep end. You'll be a phenomenal hypnotist by the end of the week. And we got a great venue. It's a beautiful hotel. Everybody has loved it. We got people coming in. Someone's coming from Australia again.
Yeah, I had a phone call with a nice lady who lives in Florida. I won't reveal names at all. But I spoke with a woman who said that she had taken a 300-hour course. Wasn't confident yet, right?
Wasn't confident.
And there was some background information that was all very interesting. But the fact that what I picked up on is 300 hours of hypnosis training and still not feeling confident. That's because, not you, I'm not picking on anyone specific here, but if you're not learning the principles, the foundational skills, so that you can do this anytime, anywhere, without scripts, rapid inductions, without the horrendously slow, progressive muscle relaxation inductions that just annoy a lot of people and take up a lot of time, you can do it faster and much more effectively. Come to Toronto.
Yeah, because we've had people come to train with us, psychiatrists, 6 psychiatrists. We teach the right stuff. We've had trainers, hypnosis trainers, come and train with us and say they've learned more in our basic course than when they did their trainer track. And we just want to say our certification is now accepted.
Yes, so the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy as a course is accepted by the International Hypnosis Association. And we haven't really broadcast this at all, but we are also acknowledged as being certified trainers under the ICBCH, which is, can't even remember the acronym. Now I'm on the fly. I'm not even going to try because I'll screw it up. But it's Richard Nongard's certifying organization.
Amazing.
So there you go.
Yeah. And the best organizations are bonding together. So come to Toronto and train with us. You'll have the time of your life. I'm going to sneeze any second. We're going to edit it out.
This out. No.
Maybe not. Hang on.
While Mike's about to sneeze. Do you ever notice, here's speaking of pet peeves, my wife's pet peeve is if I detect that she's about to sneeze and I fake sneeze, I go, achoo. She goes, oh, you wrecked it for me. It goes away. Because you know that satisfying release of,
it just happened.
Oh, the sneeze. Yeah, you've got it right now. The blurry eyes.
Yeah, blurry eyes.
Well, if I fake it, I wreck her sneeze. It's hilarious. Anyway, there you go. So there's probably her pet peeve.
That'll be her pet peeve.
So we're going to be talking about pet peeves
Let's
today.
look at the think tank words. Baselessness.
Okay, baselessness. So something that doesn't have a a baseline. Something that
Okay.
doesn't have a base.
Sharpener.
Sharpener. Ooh, yeah. Well, I think immediately, you know what I think of? Pencil sharpener.
So do I.
Back in the day, used to have one of those pencil sharpeners that my dad had screwed into the basement wall.
Oh, yeah.
And it was this kind that I'm using the hand crank gesture
Right,
for those
right, he
listening
is.
on audio. And if you push the pencil too quickly, you could literally take a pencil and grind it right
down to nothing.
in about 4 seconds.
I know, which of course we all
Which of
did.
course, exactly. Yeah.
And then the last one is holster.
Holster.
So, holster. So let's put these together. So baselessness, no base.
Yeah.
To me, this podcast is sort of baseless because we couldn't really think of anything else to do. And then I got this
Well, this
great
particular
idea.
podcast is going to have a base in effective communication and behavior. So I think that will be the base.
Thank you.
Otherwise, if it was just us ranting about things that
Which is
irritate
still
us,
fascinating.
it's baseless, right?
Okay, so
Sharpener
we've
and
escaped the
base go
baselessness.
together. Like to do a good job of sharpening, even a knife sharpener, you have to have the sharpener, or you have to have a base that everything rests on
Very
in order
much.
to properly sharpen things.
Whether
so
it's
that's a
knife,
nice
whatever.
fitting
So
together.
good base leads
What
to a
about-
good ending. Sharpener, sharpen your skill sets, sharpen your language structure, and the holster.
Oh, I like holster because it implies to me readiness. So a holster you can think of for a gun, for example,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you watch a cowboy movie or something, and the person with the quick draw wins,
Right.
Well, you need to have your wit and your intelligence and your ability to think and enter powerful states in a holster, ready to draw at a moment's notice whenever you need them. Right. And if you think about like your ability to use comedy just on the fly,
It's stellar. I mean, it really
exactly.
is.
It's holstered.
It
It's
just
there
is.
and it's ready to be
a gift.
pulled out.
There's
What
a
else do you have
line
for-
right there?
Well, yeah. What else? What else do you have for holster?
No, a holster to me is when you settle something in so it can be used later.
Yes.
Like this wonderful pair of Kleenexes because they're never thick enough to use now, which is one of my pet peeves. Used to get Kleenex man size,
Yeah.
the big heavy ones. Now the deluxe ones,
Child
you
size.
blow them once, they fall apart when you take them out of your pocket. Annoying. But let's get on with this pecker.
Okay.
So, Chris,
Oh,
what are
yeah.
your pet peeves and what are mine? I think it's crucial we talk about this
Mm-hmm.
with a comprehensive list of complaints.
You have an entire. Oh my goodness!
So I have a lot of them.
This is
So
6
let's-
pages
let's
of pet
start with
peeves here.
on time. This
All right.
you wanted this one.
Oh yeah. We put this in here when we were just prepping because so you messaged me on Voxer just as you were on your way over, and you said I am running way ahead of schedule. I'll be there in record time, and I thought we need to talk about people who are persistently late all
Yeah.
the time. I know a lot of people are persistently late, and if you're listening, this is you. Otherwise, if you're one of these people who are chronically on time or slightly ahead of time, my wife always likes to arrive a little bit early, never late. It stresses her out if we're late. I like to be on time, not super early, because I find that annoying.
Right.
Rex, my
always on
pet
time.
peeve is probably that she always wants to be so early. But I think it's quite rude when something is happening, like not a party, I'll show up anytime after 6. Okay, don't show up at 5:30 like Jack the Dick.
No, it's like 45
or-
minutes early.
Yeah, but also don't show up at freaking 9 p.m., right?
Right, when everybody's trying to go home,
If
yeah.
someone says anytime after 6, maybe you show up at 6:30 or something like that.
6:20.
Even 6 o'clock is fine, but you'd probably leave a little buffer. But,
Yeah.
you're not going to be ridiculously late and overschedule yourself and just look like an idiot and look like someone with no...
You just triggered something annoying with me. At the little church we used to go to, we'd sometimes have these yard sales and stuff. And there was a lot of work in labeling everything, getting it all
Yeah.
outside. And there's one freaking guy who and he pissed me off because I'll be there. See, and he would show up about an hour after everyone else, so he could be sure all the lifting and everything was done.
It's done, yeah.
And he just sort of stand around like he was
Yeah.
helping. And it just pissed me off.
So I think we're not going to dwell on these too long,
Oh, I
but
think
let's
we are.
leave something useful at the end. So how can you deal, first of all, if you are the type of person who's chronically late and you know that it comes across rude, think about, like, how can you evaluate that in your own life?
Well, if
and
people
decide
say,
to change it?
well, no one's ever complained to me about it. Well,
They're
you're
thinking
still
it.
bugging them.
They're thinking
Yeah,
it.
be on
right?
time.
So what is it doing for you? I would suggest evaluate. How is it helping your life to be late? Well, it probably makes you feel like you're under less pressure, but how is it harming your life?
Well, the thing is, Chris, if you look at Enneagram 7, they're the
Mm-hmm.
ones who are perpetually late. And Heather's friend Jane was leaving our house because she had an appointment with an RMT.
Mm-hmm.
And the appointment, let's say it was at 6 o'clock, and she had to drive 20 minutes to get to this appointment. She was still standing in our stairwell at 5:30. So I said, oh, you better go. Yeah. She left. at about 6:40 and was infuriated that the woman had left. So sevens
Showing
do
up
that.
an hour late.
There's always more.
Yeah.
You can always slice the pie up into more
Yeah.
pieces. Wrong.
Yeah.
If on time, people respect and thank you. Not on time, dick.
Yeah, that's
Okay?
right. You're not going to magically cruise at the
Here,
speed of light.
Let's get to this. Yeah. This really annoys me. People who think they're smart and they aren't. People have a smugness when they think they're smart. The water and wine example. Years ago, I read that puzzle. You have two identical beakers, one full of water, one full of wine. You take a teaspoonful out of the wine, put it in the water beaker. Whether you stir it or not is irrelevant. Take that teaspoon of the mix, put it back. Is there more wine in the water or water in the wine? But because of the exclusion principle,
the answer is it's
identical.
exactly the same.
And
yes.
so I'm explaining this to a guy who worked in a band. I won't say who. Well, the band was Saga.
Okay.
And big in Germany. Not really anywhere else. But anyway, so I was explaining this to him, and I said, and I told another friend, I said, you can demonstrate this. She didn't believe me. I said, get black cards, red cards, playing cards, and put some in
Actually,
there.
that's
some
a
in there,
great
same
way.
number,
That's a great way to
shuffle them.
learn.
And she said, but it isn't cards, it's molecules. I said, the principle's
yeah.
the same. And this smug idiot goes, it isn't the same. There'll be more wine in the water. And he's
Yeah.
smiling smugly, like he has some great insight. And everything within me wanted to punch him in the face. I was a younger man, more out of control.
That's actually a really good point that you can learn through. So again, turning this into a teaching example, right? So how can you learn something new? You can learn with a different model, right? So if you're getting confused because water and wine, it's a liquid, it doesn't seem as divisible as cards.
Right.
But it's 100% like if you take 1,000 playing cards that are black and 1,000 that are red, and you take any number of them, boom, and any number and put them back.
Yeah.
Assuming you use the exact same number. I suppose that's the thing. The teaspoon has to be identical. But there you go, right? You will prove it with a model. And I was actually helping my daughter do some math homework the other night. She was very confused with the word problem of setting up the equations. And there was a little extra information that wasn't really necessary to set up the equations. And I explained to her, this is a proportion problem. You have to think here as far as ratio. Ignore the number of kilograms of wheat that's mentioned. Think about 1 kilogram. It was a mixture thing.
Sure.
Anyway, and that really helped because we solved it by using that as an example.
Marilyn Bowles Savant said that in her book, Brain Building. She said, draw a diagram. Sometimes it'll help you solve a problem.
Yeah.
But dicks who can't even tell they're not smart. That drives me insane.
That is, and I think that comes down to people just, what is it you think that's going on? They don't want to admit that they don't understand, or it's either one of two possibilities.
Yeah.
They either realize, I'm missing something here that he knows that I don't know, and I don't want to look weak and stupid, so I'm going to pretend. It's either an act, or they really are just not that smart and think they are. It's one or the other. But be willing to freaking learn. I think this.
Learn. Thank you.
I actually have this on the list here somewhere, but we'll just slip it in now because it makes sense. I think that people to be effective need to be willing to admit when they make a mistake.
Absolutely.
And it earns you more respect if you just say, I totally screwed up. I took a shot at someone the other day for something that I thought was mind reading because they used a certain word that wasn't the word written, except it was. It was written earlier in the sentence. I hadn't seen it. And I said, I stand corrected. I look like a moron here, obviously, right? I just didn't see it. But if you deny it, cover it up. What am I going to do? Cover it up somehow?
With this.
Be
Okay,
like,
we got to
no.
keep moving at 600 points.
I
That's
know.
a good one. Triangulation drives me insane. This is coming out again. A friend of mine's having a problem in his marriage. And I know where this is going. My wife and I have talked about it this morning. I said, we are not going to get
You need to
triangulated
talk to
because
her,
he's going to
Mike.
say, could you talk to her for me? I know she'll, and I say, no. Well, you need to talk. No, actually, I don't need to talk to her. This is your relationship. You need to freaking talk to her face to face. The two of you hash this out. Don't talk through a third person.
Yeah.
Triangulation is a bunch of crap. Do not do it.
And do you think
Put it on me.
triangulation comes from people who are just too wimpy to face their own problems?
Yeah, maybe too
Or,
passive.
Like
or they
what-
hate conflict.
I want to make sure there's value, of course, in the discussion, even though we're going to get through all these, I promise.
Thank you.
I either imagine that someone just feels incapable of resolving the issue themselves. Like,
Or they
I
just
really
don't like
need
conflict.
you. Or they don't like conflict and they're too wuss to do anything about it. And so they're hoping you'll rescue them from the confrontation because they can't be assertive themselves. So I think a key value there is learn to be assertive. Ask for what you want and be clear about it without being aggressive, without being a dick. right?
And that's it. Yeah, be assertive without being aggressive.
Yeah.
I joke about saying I want to punch him in the face. It's just hyperbole. I wouldn't punch. I hurt my hands. I choke people.
All right.
But people who think that magic is an intelligence test and something they're supposed to try to screw up. I was on stage for a big thing of a nursing event brought by Speaker Spotlight. Martin got me this great one in Niagara at, Brock Hotel, whatever, huge room. Guy comes up for the very first effect, human lie detector.
Yeah.
And he turns to me off mic and he says, I'm only up here to screw this up.
Yeah, back to the audience,
No,
buddy.
he did screw it up. I thought he has to be kidding.
Yeah.
Screwed up the starting effect
Yeah.
because he just did not cooperate and found ways to wreck it.
Wow.
So, and you see this all the time. My friend Les Burton, who since passed away 16 years ago, whatever, he was just getting into card magic, tried to show this other guy who was a speaker. And he said, guys, grabbing the cards and looking at it just constantly. And he finally said, you have to permit me to make my presentation. He said, what if you're up there speaking at the podium and I just get up and start throwing tomatoes at you and say, well, you're not a very good speaker. Look, I can screw you up.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing.
Totally.
And one of the worst was Heather and I were at her brother's house. And he had this guy over, Barry, who was an absolute dick. I mean, he really was. And a young woman there, I had done a book test just with books off the shelf. She looked at a book and I
like a
got the
mentalism
word.
effect.
Yeah, mentalism effect. She loved it, was blown away. So he comes in. What did he do? What did he do? Tell me. Hey, he kept unpacking it until he figured it out and then told her. And the look of disappointment on her face. And I said, Barry, here's the problem. You got that beautiful purple motorcycle out there. What if I go out and start with a pair of, tin snips or something and start cutting cables and things and say, well, it's not that good.
Yeah.
I can wreck it.
Yeah.
Whether you can wreck something or not does not invalidate it.
Yeah.
What people who wreck magic effects don't realize is we're not trying to say you're stupid. It isn't an intelligence test. It is an art form. And the art that we create is a sense of wonder. And when you take that away, it's like throwing, paint on the Mona Lisa or something. You destroy it. But for what purpose? We're not saying you're a dick, but by wrecking the effect, you are a dick.
And it's similar to the people who might spoil a, let's say the plot of a movie or TV show before you watch it. Oh, did you see the new Mission Impossible movie? No, I haven't. Oh, you're going to love it when...
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Shut up.
Dicks.
Right? Yeah. So it's very similar. That's true. It's not an intelligence test. And in fact, some of the smartest people, the most scientifically minded, intelligent people in the world are sometimes the easiest to fool with these effects because it's outside of their awareness of what's possible.
Totally.
And
that's why you've got Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff, who are laser physicists, completely fooled by Uri Geller.
Yeah.
Oh, they're laser physicists. They're smart. It's not their field of expertise. Bring in a freaking magician.
And somebody could, in 3 minutes, explain what's going on. And they go, it's just outside of their awareness, right? It's not part of their schema. And as soon as it is, it wrecks it.
Yeah.
I suppose. But all right.
Yeah, that's different.
Let's keep moving.
Okay. People who do the chess night tour. Oh, no, I'm not going to get that one yet. Here we are. People who tailgate on the highway at high speed. This drives me mad.
Yeah.
If you want to endanger your life, and the second one ties to it, the chess night tour, driving like a chess night in and out of traffic. If you want to endanger your life on the highway, you freaking go ahead. But you want to endanger mine and my wife's as well, I will want to kill you. I said, I know I've made a lot of violent comments in this podcast, but it is stuff that pisses us off. Remember, road rage, I said, is the only crime I understand. It's the only one I think I'm capable of any. I'm sure any human is. But there was a guy, when I had my Volvo 940 Turbo, I'm flying up 401, going to an event, Western Ontario, and a guy gets behind me, and I'm not kidding, he was so close I couldn't see his license plate.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there at 70 miles an hour on the highway, and he's in his 50s, he's glasses in the beard, and he's like, hunched forward like this, staring at my car. So I engage the turbo, blow away, way up, pull into the lane again. He just gradually catches up, slips right behind me again. I'm thinking, what's he think? He's slipstreaming me, reducing
Yeah.
So again, engage the turbo, blow him a quarter mile up the road, and he just doggedly catches up, pulls back in my lane behind me. So now I hit the frickin' brakes.
Yes.
And give him the finger. Yeah. And he's like, frantically trying to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. That stopped him.
Family friendly.
It drove me crazy.
I have simple response for exactly. So if you're on the highway, this is what I would generally do. Someone's coming up way too close.
Yeah.
Move over. Get in the other lane. Let him pass me. Just get out of my life.
I was in the right-hand lane.
Oh, you were in the right-hand lane?
I was in the right-hand lane, the slow lane, and he kept talking
you're
behind
kidding me.
He wasn't trying to pass me.
Oh, in that case, 100%. I will. This is the second option. So if I'm in the fast lane and someone comes up on me, I'm just going to move over.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. No problem.
Yeah.
Just get them out of my life.
So do I.
If I'm in the slow lane, or if I'm on a side street and there's only one lane, because it's equivalent in my mind, When someone does that, I immediately slow down to exactly the speed limit. And if they still don't get the point, I keep slowing down. Like if it's a 60-kilometer-an-hour zone, I'm going 50. Guess what? This guy gets the point. Now, I have a Tesla, so that really helps too.
Yeah, because you can get away.
What I can do is slow down to 50, well below the speed limit, and then
go
make
to
my
warp 5.
Then just go back to 70.
Yeah.
I want to, if it's a 60 zone, let's say I want to drive 70. Just right back up to 70.
Oh, but he'll be furious with you.
Now, this will happen, and after 2 repetitions of this, usually at most, they get the point.
Yeah, that's great. I asked the OPP my last training for Ontario Provincial Police maybe 7-8 years ago, and on the west part of Toronto. And I spoke to one of the cops about this, and I said, I flashed the brake lights. And he said, here's what I recommend you do. He said, put your 4-way flashers on.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, they don't know
right.
what's
You
going
said
on, but they back
once.
right off and
Yeah,
then take them off
that's
again.
actually
Then
a
they
great
get the
idea.
message.
Yeah, you just put on your 4-ways.
Man, we
and
could
then
do
all of a
one
sudden-
just on idiot drivers. Okay, let's
Totally.
talk about
There's so much.
mispronouncing words.
Yeah.
You said the one nucleus.
Yeah,
the
before-
nucleus of the atom. The nuclear physics.
Nuclear. Yeah,
and they
when
say
people
nucleus
say
as well.
Yeah, that's right. I know, on a cell.
Clear,
Yeah,
C-L-E-A-R,
nuclear.
clear,
Yeah.
nuclear, not nuclear.
When you're saying words that kind of are technical, it's important to say them correctly. It also goes along with the idea that a lot of people will use a word that they don't actually understand the meaning of or the pronunciation of, let's say,
Right.
and not check it first. I like to check things. If I don't understand the word, I will stop myself from using it and maybe go look it up later so that I know now I have educated myself. I built my schema a little bit more, right? I think that's useful.
It's a new word for me. Thank you.
What?
Educated. And look that up. Dude, yeah, man. And the other one is when people, NASA, North American Space Administration, they call it Nassau.
Nassau.
Like in the
I've done
Bahamas.
that.
In the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And it was even on The Simpsons. Homer Simpson phones and they answer and he goes, hello, is this Nassau? And the guy goes, yes, it is. Like they're so used to answering it wrong now.
That's hilarious.
Hypnotist.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hi,
Hypnotize.
I'm a hypnotist.
I'm a hypnotist. I'm going to hypnotize
You're not a
you.
hypnotist.
Oh, man.
You're not
This
going to
is-
hypnotize anyone.
The other one is Moscow. There is no cow in Moscow.
Moscow.
It's Moscow.
Yeah.
And the reason I know, I used to listen to Radio Moscow on my shortwave. And
Yeah.
this is Radio Moscow. Don't you think they'd know if it's Moscow? It's like
the worst is correcting someone who
Oh, man.
actually is like from there.
the
and-
one that drives me crazy. We know a woman, and it could be a man, but it's a woman in this case. And sommelier. The sommelier.
Oh.
First syllable is the
sommelier.
yeah, it's the accent.
It's not-
Sommelier. Sommelier.
Sommelier.
That is someone who determines, buying wines for a restaurant, advising wines, and so on. The sommelier. She calls him the sommelier, like the nation of Somalia. He's from Somalia.
That's just-
we should call the sommelier. And I'm just like, everything in me
That's
wants
great.
to berate her publicly, but I don't. Okay, how about this one? People who think that you have the same values and model of the world as them.
Oh,
It's a subtle
man. Yeah. That's when they should all over you, right? You should X
Oh, yeah.
because
Trust
they
me, it'll be
believe-
great. No.
They believe that you value whatever it is
Exactly
the
what
same
they
as
want.
you. So you should do this because I want to do that and I do that.
Yeah, let's do this bike ride through downtown Toronto at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And for a 4-hour race. Oh, trust me, you'll love it. It'll be
Yeah.
great. No, actually, I won't love it. Oh, yeah, we're all doing Polar Bear Club. We're jumping through the ice. It's fantastic. You will love it. Trust me.
I hate cold water.
Shut
No,
up. Yeah.
not gonna
I like to
happen.
be cozy with a cat. And a,
Yeah, that's a really good point. So
glass of whiskey
again,
next to a
turning this
fire.
into some value, make sure that you understand.
Don't project
that
your
there
values on
is
them.
a freaking difference
Yeah.
between what you care about and what others care about. And if you want to have rapport and align, find some common ground there, right? Or at least chunk up and find an example of what is ice diving, whatever you call that, ice swimming.
Polar Bear Club. Yeah.
What
yeah.
is that and something else?
I call it a pending
that
heart
you
attack.
like.
Heart
What
attack,
are they
yeah.
examples of, and
Yeah.
how can you do something together?
Got
that
it.
You find in common. All right,
To
cool.
which
cool.
we add people who never calibrate. This is a common one.
yeah.
Some people just miss it. They don't calibrate. They're not noticing the external cues that you're giving them. And likewise, you must become aware of the social cues that other people are giving to you. Like it's tragic because there's a ton of information coming in. And if you miss it, it's my wife and I had a discussion with a friend, and the discussion had gone a bit off the rails, and the friend, who's quite young, was getting stressed. And I calibrated this immediately and attempted to change the topic. But my wife, who admits she doesn't calibrate much, just continued the topic. And the girl looked at me and went,
Yeah.
get her to stop. And I
Yeah.
said, she doesn't want to talk about it. Well, how do you know? I said, she didn't want to talk about it. Started 10 minutes ago. And so, I didn't realize. And here's her response. And I'm not picking on my wife. She's smart in a million ways, but this is one thing she needs help with. She says, well, how do you know? And I said, well, she told us she didn't want to talk about this. And then Heather says, well, why don't you want to talk about it? And just rips it all open. And I'm seeing the girl goes like this. She goes, and the frustration, but she's not picking up on any of this.
Yeah. No one owes you a freaking explanation, by the way, too,
and it's
right?
not just my wife. There's lots of
people.
people.
Yeah. I mean, in general, right? If somebody doesn't want to talk about something or doesn't
let
want
it
to
go.
explain something to you,
Yeah.
they don't owe this to you, right?
Yeah.
They do not owe. I mean, I suppose in some
find out.
circumstances they might. Like if you get into a contract with somebody and say, I promise to do this and this and this, and then you change your mind, yeah, you probably should explain yourself, right? Or the threat of legal action could be in your future. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if it's just somebody who says, I don't feel like going to that restaurant, well, why? They don't owe you an explanation.
Well, especially when the double. I don't want to talk about it. Why don't you want to talk about it?
That's very meta-analyzing
you're gauging it, the very thing, putting them back in the state they don't want. So yeah, be aware of that.
Just say understood and move on.
Now, this is a different one than before. When I said people who don't realize they're stupid, like the oil in the water.
Again.
This drives me crazy. Idiots who think they're clever. Now, I'm not going to say that this was a family member. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it was a male family member. But we were over there one day in the family gathering years ago, and he just says out of the blue, oh, by the way, I'm a genius. By the way, since
by
we're on
the
that,
way, yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, I took a test online. I'm a genius. Well, typically, if one is a genius, as I am,
everyone else would know.
There will be some evidence. You'll have a massive broad-based schema. You'll have some skill that other people don't have. There will be evidence for it. There will be something that people will go, man, that guy or that woman is really freaking smart in that area or multiple areas. Maybe a Renaissance person, as I rather fancy
You're going to get emails now saying, Mike's really high on himself.
We're having fun with
this is part of the humor.
But the bottom line, it is my humor. But the bottom line
and we
is,
interrupt each other, by the way.
Deal with it. Deal with it. He says he's a genius. There's not one shred of evidence of anything other than abject mediocrity in this guy's life.
That's so funny.
So I've said it. Okay, so go ahead.
I like that. We interrupt each other. We're going to keep doing it. And it used to say, oh, no, we need to work on it. No,
we don't.
No.
This is who we are.
Deal with it. Yeah.
Okay, Chris, I'm glad to hear you've come a long way. Now, you can take this one. Don't use the name I put under it, but this is the jog for you. People who mistake politeness for interest.
People who mistake politeness for interest.
Yeah, like they'll tell a long story. They're going to Ken Sweatman's story.
Sorry,
what talk about boring stuff. It's right here.
Which one are we looking at?
Right here. People who mistake politeness for
Okay,
interest.
got you. I saw that point, and I wasn't sure where that was going with this particular person, who I haven't seen in a long time. Nice guy, by the way.
I'm a very nice guy.
People, and I love this because so many years ago, you taught me this one intervention where somebody's coming up and they're explaining a bunch of stuff and you want the conversation to end.
Yeah.
So you just go, not very interesting.
Yeah.
Or
tugging the invisible tie.
Or the alternative, which is way better, when you say,
Excuse me.
You're obviously mistaking politeness for interest. It's a humdinger of a line, all right?
Yeah.
Boom.
And if that doesn't work, I resort to, stop talking before one of us dies.
Yes.
That one works when they're really... Well, we had a guy did a metaphor in our class. God bless him. Nice man. Our metaphor should be like 2 minutes.
The one that went on for like 12 minutes?
I started timing it because it was going long, and I timed 14 minutes.
That's
like, just because everyone's sitting there politely, it doesn't mean they're into it. We're back to calibration again.
I'll give you another example of that. And I'm not picking on any particular person, but we've taught hundreds of people in the live Toronto classroom over the years.
We have.
Usually on the first day, in the first half an hour, we just get everyone to introduce themselves real quick, what they want and what the outcome that they're looking for from the class will be.
Yeah.
Right? Well, sometimes some people will take way more than, let's say, the 30 to 45 seconds that we're looking for.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, if every single person in the class, there's like 40 people in there, took 2-3 minutes or more.
That's a couple hours.
Yeah. I mean,
couple
there's
hours
your whole
wasted
day.
time.
Thank you. Right. So when people, and I think it's just that people don't have any sense that there is a time constraint.
Yeah.
And they just assume everyone's as interested in their story as they are in their own.
Yeah.
And then they go on and on. So that's,
But do you notice, like the last one, I actually said, when we did the Halloween to November 4th training last year, I said, we're going to go around really quick. I'll point at you. I just want to know your name, your first name, where you're from, and one sentence why you're here.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's the only way to do it with a large enough audience. Like if we have 10 people in the class, it's fine. Everyone can take a minute or two. Even that gets long. But when you have 40 people in the class, I want 15 seconds, right? Because we want to get through this in 10 minutes. So we can get on to...
Beautiful.
We just want to start building the relationship, know a bit about what you're looking for, because we're going to cue into that,
you're kind of
right?
doing it now. So let's get
there we go.
So,
but it is
I'm going
important
to talk about,
to be able to interrupt people at
very
certain
important.
times.
And I want to talk about twin concepts that Les Burton and I came up with years ago. He said he's dead. Infantocentrism and baby focus. Now, you can't say, oh, it's because I don't have kids that I'm saying this, because Les had 3 wonderful kids, but he still talked about this. Something interesting happens. You can be at an event, and if someone shows up with a newborn baby,
everybody.
What happens is baby focus.
Yeah.
At some point in the conversation will turn to the baby, talking about the baby. And once that happens with baby focus, that will be the only topic for the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
And it will be things like how much of a diaper the kid can fill and all this stuff that is of zero interest at all. Anyway, so baby focus, once you go there, there's no extricating.
That's an interesting
But I did break it once. Heather and I were at a Valentine's Day dinner, 8 people at a table, and everybody started talking about their kids. I mean, they're infants, kids that weren't present. And I let it go for maybe 20 minutes. And I said, you know what, guys? I said, this is fascinating. I don't have children, but I was one. I was a prodigy, actually. I had an extremely high IQ. They always had school psychologists coming in talking about me. I had reading at a grade 11 level. When I was, and they went, okay, we get it. I said, I was one. Don't say I don't know about kids. I was a kid.
Yeah.
So anyway, the other aspect of this, which is kind of funny, is infantocentrism. This is when someone has their first child. And it doesn't happen to everyone, but they mistakenly believe now that their infant child is the center of the universe.
For everyone, not
and
just
that
themselves.
Everyone will perceive that. I saw a woman on a plane once. I was trying to read. She had an infant and was kneeling in the aisle of the plane, going on her knees up the aisle with the infant in front, just making eye contact with everyone.
Look, let me show you.
I thought, look what we made. Look what we made.
That's hilarious.
I just want to say infantocentrism. And I love kids, especially love his kids. He's got great kids.
Oh, my goodness.
But they're not the center of the
I mean,
universe.
I remember when each of my daughters was a newborn, and of course they were the most important thing in my world, right? And they still are.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that everyone else would care
Well,
the
of course,
same way.
because you didn't have the
my
disorder.
kids. They're
It's a
not,
psychiatric disorder.
they're not
I've
your
come up
kids.
with. Now, here's one that I know you agree with, because you're one of the best at the
Man.
opposite of this. People who are disdainful to waiters and waitresses.
Oh, thank you for
can't
bringing this up.
stand that when people treat service people in service industries who are doing a vital activity to bring
Like
us
they're
nice
low
food.
class.
I
You're
can't
nothing.
stand
You
it.
know,
In fact,
you're
you
working
can-
for me. You should just go do this, and I can treat
Totally.
you like garbage.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I hate that. And you and I do the opposite.
Oh, yeah.
You're the one who said to me, and I'm giving you the credit here because I took your advice. You said, don't do 15%. Just automatically give people 20%.
Yeah.
No matter what the bill is, they're working hard. And I went, he's right, damn him.
Yeah.
And I've started doing that too. And it's an important thing. Like, honor people for working.
It's not just leaving a good tip, right? But the opposite of this is treating someone like
With
they're
respect.
just low-class garbage. You're just a waiter or waitress.
Oh,
and
terrible.
They are people working hard, and they're looking to put food on their family's table, and they're usually really nice people.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And caring, and we go out of our way to build relationships with that, too. It could be like at the Buffalo airport, where we're building rapport. We talked about
Beautiful.
this after.
And they were wonderful
This is
people.
someone who's serving you. They're there. They probably put up with a whole lot of...
They're in the front lines of idiocy, dealing with idiocy.
They deal with crap all day long. They don't need yours. Be nice to people,
No,
right?
you're
and
right.
then give them a good tip.
Then give them a good tip
Yeah.
and be friendly and say goodbye. Ask people their name,
Yeah.
all of this stuff. Now, here's an interesting thing. I said I was in Saskatchewan doing a 3,000-person event for teachers, doing a keynote. And they took me out for supper. And it was a beautiful restaurant. And at the next table, these 3 20-something girls came in. They're like 22, 23. And one of them was the wine expert.
Uh-huh.
And so she orders a bottle of wine, and their sommelier, not sommelier, their sommelier comes over, whoever the head waiter was, whatever, and he brings her the one she wants. They pour it, and they start drinking it. She goes, oh, no, we don't like it. Take it back. He goes, okay. So he takes it back. And then they do it again. A second one. She wants to show how much. No, this isn't vinified properly. Send it back. These are like $30, $40 bottles
Yeah,
of wine.
and
So they're sending them back. And the waiter comes over to our table. He said, I'm so stressed out. They want a third one, a different one. And he said, what do I do if they say that this one's no good? I said, send them over here. I said, I was a wine writer. I wrote for City Bites magazine. I was a wine judge. I'll tell you the wine's okay.
Yeah.
I'll put her in her freaking place.
Yeah.
And the guy was so glad, but they sat on the third one. They could hear him talking to our table. That is treating him with disdain.
Yeah.
This is his freaking job. But, oh, no, you leave your day job at whatever. And, oh, now you're the wine expert.
If you want to look important, okay, that's wonderful.
I do.
But if you do that while making someone else feel like crap or putting someone in a really stressful situation, that's not very nice. That's called being a dick.
It is called being a dick. And this is shaping up well. Now, let's talk about, I can't stand it when people steal my lines.
I've done that to you.
Great, no, but you don't steal them. You work them.
I have contributed some of my own now.
You have. Yeah. You've got my sense of humor, and it is a magnificent one. And in reality, it's
so tempting
boring.
to steal your lines because they're so good.
You can't teach this stuff. It's instinct. But the bottom line is, he's got a good sense of humor. Now he must have some British gene somewhere. This is how we do it downtown.
This is how we do it downtown.
He's got some good lines. But here's where it bothers me when I say steal my lines. I was teaching for NLP Canada. I was Derek Balmer's hired gun. And when I was teaching, another trainer would come into the room. And I was getting great laughs and everything and keep people happy and it's moving. Well, we start day one and he opens the day with one of my lines and everybody bursts out laughing. And within the first 10 minutes, he's used about 5 of my lines.
Which you can't use.
I can't use. And they're used through the training, not all in 5 minutes. And he's getting great laughs and he's all happy. He's a comedian now. I said, dude, you're using all of my freaking lines. He said, well, they're funny.
Yeah, except
yes, that's why I came up with them.
And you had a plan. Usually you have a very well thought out.
It's when it comes in. The timing is part of it.
It's not like you sit down and consciously plan when you're going to do it. But
Yeah.
over the years, you've just realized that, okay, well, if I drop this one around here and this one later,
right.
you seed them, right? It's... You don't take a nice bottle of wine and guzzle the whole thing at once.
Well,
you sip it and enjoy it.
Correct.
So it lasts, right? It's the same thing with your humor. Yeah. You don't drop all the lines.
Steal other people's lines.
Yeah.
Let them use their own stuff. I can't stand friends who only see me as a freaking resource for networking. And I've had friends like that. People all over us. Oh, you guys are great, Mike. You're so amazing. You're hypnosis and stuff. They build a friendship, and it turns out it's just a networking opportunity.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like, we had people wanted to invite me over to their house after a corporate event, and they said, "Oh, we'll have our friends over. We'll give you guys a great dinner, and then you can put on a show for everyone."
Yeah, work for free, buddy. Work for free.
Yeah. Do you do that with your dentist? Have him come over and do some fillings after the meal.
Inspect everyone's teeth.
Insane. But remember that happened to Paul Pacific.
Yes.
Paul Pacific, that's his real name. He's an excellent Canadian mentalist.
Yeah.
Really super nice guy. I learned a lot from him. And
somebody
a mutual friend
dinner.
said, "Oh, I want to hang out. I'm going to have you over to my house. We're going to have a big barbecue." And he's like, "Oh, this is nice." He said, "And you can teach me all your mentalism stuff." And Paul gets off the phone and he thinks, Paul's a nice guy. He's a 9. So he just goes, "Yeah, but I don't like this." He phones the guy back. He said, "You know what? I'd love to come over and hang out with you, but I don't want to teach all my stuff." Barbecue's canceled. That was
Boom,
it. That
there
was
you go.
it.
You know what? Friendship's canceled. How about that? Because
Yeah.
obviously that's somebody who does not value you
Yeah.
as a friend. They value that you have some skills that you could teach them. And that's the only reason they're keeping you around,
Now we're going to have to go into high gear.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm going to skim through these next 2 because we're not going to miss any. People who say he made me do it. Go ahead, 30 seconds.
Oh, my goodness. He made me do it, or just the idea of people who incessantly put the blame on others.
Yeah.
He made me feel upset. He made me yell at him. He made me forget.
Yeah.
Or she, it doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant. Gender is not important here. Little hair on the microphone.
Male or female?
Blaming others for things you are in control of is stupid.
Right.
It's a sign of weakness to me.
It is a sign of weakness, damn it. And what about these one-man show people who call themselves we? They have a business and they're the only person. Well, we will get in touch with you.
We talked about this
it's him. He's the only guy there.
Yeah, this is the thing. If you're branding yourself as, let's say, Mike Mandel Hypnosis, there you go. Well, we're actually a team, so it's branded. But if Mike was a solo hypnotherapist, hypnotist, entertainer, whatever part of the
and
things
reception and secretary and bookkeeper,
Well, if you were Mike Mandel selling keynotes and trainings that you were doing by yourself for the most part, you wouldn't say, well, we show up at your venue and we will train you in da-da-da-da-da, whatever. You don't like that, da-da. That's another pet peeve.
It's horrible.
No, it's you. Brand yourself as you if it's you, and present yourself as you. When you say we, when you really mean me, it's trying to make
Okay, we're
yourself
way
look
past
more
the
important.
30
yeah, there we go.
Here. So
There you
anyway,
go.
I agree with everything you said.
It's more honest.
No, I gave you the 30 seconds on he made me do it.
yeah.
So you're okay.
Oh, thank
now,
you.
What about
Thank you.
people who eat loudly with their mouth open?
Oh.
I am put off my food really easily.
My grandmother used to say, "You attract the pigs."
I get put off my food. And if I do, things gross me out. Now, I'm great with surgery. I can watch surgery and eat. I have no problem. I can clean up vomit. When my wife had horrible Meniere's syndrome, was throwing up in the middle of the night, I'm fine with cleaning up vomit. But when people eat with their mouth open, it just makes me cringe. It's horrible.
And if someone discusses toilet issues while you're eating, that's
absolutely
bad too.
inappropriate.
Yeah.
We were at a Christmas dinner with one of my wife's relatives, and there was this guy who was about 20 on the other side of the table. We're sitting down eating turkey dinner, and he goes, burps like it's right across from me. I put my knife and fork down. I said, I'm put off my food really easily. And if you ruin my Christmas dinner and do that again, I'll come around to that side of the table and break your legs.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, just eating. Like,
And you meant it too. That's
irritated
congruence.
me.
Being
It's just-
congruent is a skill.
what about insane online customers? I'm going to hand this to you.
Well, they're
Chris.
okay. Obviously,
Business
I don't
idiots.
want to make it sound like we have all of these bad customers.
No,
but
everybody does.
keep in mind, it's a ratio. It's like taking that water and putting 1 spoon of wine.
yeah.
You're going to have some bad customers in any business, and the more customers you have,
The more bad customers
the
you will
more
have.
just by law of large numbers,
Yeah.
the same percentage, let's say. But we occasionally get people who are pretty crazy when it comes to expectations and stuff. And one, I don't think we ever talked about this. Like, we had an example where somebody bought, I don't have them on my desk right now, a deck of our hypnotic language cards. They sell on our website for like $9.
Free shipping.
Right on the order form. So it's not like a hidden upsell or anything like that. It's just while you're here, it's sort of in the checkout aisle. Would you're buying your milk and they go, oh, there's a People magazine. Yeah, I'd like to have that for my weekend. They got magazines, gum, whatever. Things in the buy the cash. It's the same thing online where you're buying the cards and it goes, would you like to add hypnotic power inductions to your order? And I think it's like $17 on the order form. And so quite a few people, about 25, 30% go, yeah, I'd like that because it's a great course, great offer. Guy buys this and 2 months later emails us saying, well, no, actually he didn't email us. He commented on our Facebook ad for the cards and said, oh, these guys are going to charge you more. Whatever they say it is, they're going to charge you more. I'm like, I look him up immediately. Thankfully, his actual name on Facebook was the same as this customer name. You can't always tell because that's fine. People use different names sometimes. But I was able to find him, and I just emailed and said, actually, you took this thing. No, you're lying. Here's a screenshot of the order form. You can clearly see it. Plus I have all the... But no, this guy would not accept. Anyway, delete, unsubscribe. He can keep the stuff. That's fine. In fact, I think we might have even just sent him a full refund and said, like, get out of our lives. Yeah. Right? But
bite my wand.
People can be dicks, and don't let it get to you because you can't change them, right? The only thing you can control is your own behavior. And so this used to really bother me because if somebody accuses us of doing something dishonest,
when we go so far above board to do everything
now, I just realize there are dicks out there.
Yeah.
We can't stop them from being dicks. All we can do is disengage and basically fire them from our lives.
Right. It's a good case for making birth control retroactive. Now, look, morons accused of fraud. What about people who don't even give your name? They just send you a thing. It'll be Irene and send an email and say, I can't open the product.
I had I noticed a customer not emailed, but I think it was like an Instagram direct message or something. And the customer had a question about a shipment, probably for the language cards because that's the only thing we ship. And his name on Instagram was 3 letters, like not Bob even. It was something, even though it was Bob. Let's pretend it was Bob.
Okay.
Bob sends you a message. Hey, my shipment's taking a long time. Any update? Who are you? Your name is Bob. You don't even have a last name and you've communicated 0 details. So if you're not intelligent enough to think, you know what? When the person who's on the other end of this message reads it, they're going to wonder who I am.
Yeah.
Maybe I should offer that information. So put some thought put some thought when you're communicating with others into what they already know versus what you know that they should know.
Right.
They're not you. They don't have your brain.
I buy something from PetSmart for a cat, and I don't keep the receipt.
Yeah.
I don't have the Visa, bill, whatever.
You call them up.
No, worse. I send my wife there.
Yeah.
And she says, my husband bought something here.
And you overcharged us.
And we want a refund.
Yeah.
Bought something.
Or we bought something and you overcharged us. Really? Well, what was it? I mean, we all know that would invite some questions like, I'd love to help you out.
We're getting through these.
Yeah.
Come on. Now let's go. Well, some of these are so important. Idiotic emails. I got an email a couple of weeks ago. So how does hypnosis work?
Yeah, we're just going to write you honestly, those kinds of things get deleted.
You write to Elon Musk and say, so tell me about Teslas.
Yeah.
It's all on our website. Like, go look there.
Are your cars really battery operated?
Shut up. Phone message morons. This one drives me crazy. We say on our phone message, we will not be returning your inquiry by phone. We don't have the time, but send us an email address, make it clear. That's how we respond to you. Yeah, I need about a 20 to 30 minute conversation. I'm trying to figure out whether or not to take your course. Here's my response. Don't take it.
Yeah. Honestly, there's an even the better one is because in our case, voicemail, we're going to get a lot of phone calls. We're going to respond to most people by email. In fact, most of those are going to get forwarded on to customer support so that the voicemail is like, hi, the best ones are, hey, this is Bob Smith. My email address is bobsmith23@gmail.com. I have a question about such and such.
Yep.
Clearly fleshed out.
Nice.
Can you help me out and get back to me? I know you said you're going to get back to me by email. My email again is bobsmith23@gmail.com. And I go forward to support. And it gets handled.
Done.
Wonderful. The other end of the spectrum is, hey, this is Bob Smith. Can you give me a call back? No, I'm serious. That'll happen.
You're stressing me so much. Stop it.
When somebody, and this is not a business thing too, this is actually in my personal life too. If somebody calls me and says, hey, this is me, and I don't know who they are, can you call me back? I need to talk to you about something. I'm not calling you back.
Yeah.
If you email me and say, can you email me back? I need to discuss it. I'm not emailing you back because you haven't bothered to explain any context, so I cannot be bothered to respond.
Well, buddy, remember the guy was trying to get a hold of me through a friend we had in common? I vaguely know this guy's name.
Oh, yeah.
Vaguely, but I can't picture him.
And
he said,
it was a very
friendly,
email,
very nice guy.
Somebody you hadn't talked to in 20 plus years.
30 years. And he said, or just send me Mike's personal cell phone number.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it came in on social and was like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I know Mike.
We got a really good one next. Special hypnotists. I'm not going to name them, but if you look, Chris, I put down 3 classic names right here. Okay. Now, these are the hypnosis experts who promote their own courses and materials and have the nerve to say, you check and make sure that your hypnotist is trained in, 6025, my special method. If they're not qualified. This is arbitrary. Yeah, this is absolutely arbitrary.
Yeah.
So they don't show up at the conferences, these guys.
Because they don't want to be called out.
Yeah, they don't want to be called out. They won't go head to head in discussion with the best in the world. And that's what we go to, the conferences with the best in the world. Melissa Tears, James Tripp, Carl Smith and the Jacquins and people who are the best in the world. And Igor Ledohovsky. But these people sit on the outside and they in their little ivory towers and they rip everybody else apart and talk about how great they are, but they'll never, ever walk the walk. They'll never show up at the conferences. And you know what it is? They're scared to because they can't do it publicly.
All right, I'm going
to give you an example.
I'm going to give you a comparison.
I'm winding up to a crescendo here.
Okay.
My martial arts master in the 1990s, Rickson Gracie, arguably the greatest fighter in the world, was coming to Toronto to teach Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I went to the weekend-long seminar. It was amazing. I asked my martial arts master if he's going. No, I'm not going. Why not? He said, I'd probably kill him. Here's the reality. He so wanted to know what he taught at that thing. He wanted to go. But by going, it was saying that he could actually learn something from someone else, and his frickin' ego would not let that happen.
This goes way beyond, obviously, you just gave a martial arts example, so that's great. My point was it goes beyond hypnotists, right?
Yeah.
The best hypnotists in the training space that I am aware of and that you're aware of, we've realized they all promote each other as supplemental stuff. Now, here would be another example. Like we run a podcast. We're not a big podcast by any means.
No.
We're a fairly niche podcast. We don't really promote it or anything like that. But there are some amazingly big podcasts out there. Now, can you imagine Joe Rogan saying something like, because he'd probably be the biggest podcast in the world for a reason. It's phenomenal. Love that guy's podcast. Amazing. Can you imagine Joe Rogan ever sitting there and being like, yeah, if you're listening to other podcasts, you're wasting your time. This is the only one you should ever listen to. It's my special podcast. It's my special world. I'm the only one who brings on the best guests, and everyone else can bite me, right?
Yeah.
No, he's going to say, you know who has an amazing podcast? That guy's got an amazing podcast, and that guy's got an amazing podcast. So you want to hang around and support your life by being around others who do that, not, only me, I'm the only one, right?
Yep.
There are plenty of awesome people who can teach you awesome stuff beyond us.
And often it's not the sort of people you're going to run into. I said people take a weekend hypnosis course and now they're hypnosis experts.
Yes.
And I did a weekend hypnosis course to see what they were like. And it was from a big organization. And frankly, it was crap.
Yeah.
They tell you to read scripts at people. I just want to see what it was. I can't stand loud thumping music outdoors. At our cabin, I go up there to listen to freaking loons in silence. I don't go up there. He's showing me where I should be on the thing. I do not go up there to... listen to thumping music. I can hear that in the freaking city. But we have a special report, Chris, that we have to deal with now.
We have to get to our special report. So I would like to bring you at this very moment, before we wrap up the podcast, a special report from Hypno North in Meaford, Ontario.
Yeah, how are you tonight? Thanks again. So, it's really awesome for me because a podcast about pet peeves is a great chance for me to ventilate a bunch of stuff that's driven my blood pressure up to about 5 billion over a million. Here's my pet peeves in no particular order. People will come over for coffee every frickin' day because they say they just ran out. People who say we should go out for supper to the Red Rooster in Owen Sound, and when the bill comes, they say, well, I got $5, and I wind up paying 30. And that Dick Eddard, under any and all circumstances, is a pet peeve. I hate Duder's greasy mullet that he's waiting to have come back in style. Pet peeve for me is the fact my iPhone 5 is down the outhouse and it's still ringing when Eddard calls it, even though it's freezing cold out and the battery should be dead by now. I hate the fact that Duder never pays for a frickin' thing. He always gets Eddard to pay with money he's borrowed from me, so I'm supporting both of those dicks, which is kind of like being their personal jockstrap. My biggest pet peeve is living up here in Grey County and having dick all to do, and that applies double for Meaford, but there's actually less than dick all to do. And people who love talking about ice fishing as though it's something good to sit around in a freezing hut for hours and then lose your snowmobile to the bottom of Cooks Bay, Keswick. And people with stupid names like the Knutsis sisters, Voralaya and Gaitala at the donut shop. And of course, stupid names like Duder and Eddard too. Also, and finally, I hate it when people never get their drinking water tested, but just go ahead and drill a frickin' well and then don't drink any of the water, but wait for the person next door to try it in their coffee and see if they get sick. And yes, I'm referring to Eddard again. So that's it from your old pal Brado. Looking at these pet peeves, it really does indicate the entirety of Grey County is completely bitched. So just do the best you can, which is all you can really ask of anyone. So thanks once again and good night.
Thank you, Brado. We always love your updates from Meaford, Ontario. And now, I guess we're going to have to wrap this
We are,
sucker up
Christopher.
because
We're going to have to do it as two-part.
We will. You know what we'll do? No, we won't do it two-part.
yeah, we
We'll
will.
sneak some of these extra pet peeves into future
Brilliant.
podcasts.
Brilliant.
That's the way to do it, right?
Yes.
Word whiskers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Excellent.
all right. So, with that said, let's cover maybe one more.
I wish you hadn't done that.
Right?
Right? Because no, you did it fine. We have a relative who, she started doing this really annoying thing. She goes, righto, toodle pip. Righto, toodle pip. I think she's not even freaking English. Okay. And nobody in England even talks like that.
I've got to say this. I was watching a training.
Righto, toodle pip.
I was watching a trainer. I won't even say what kind of trainer because it'll
think we're
be
gonna
too
guess.
obvious.
Yeah.
But I was watching an online training, and the trainer was asking that if he had a bunch of people on Zoom screens, I suppose, in front of a multi-monitor setup, because I think there was about 150 people on the call.
Yeah.
So he probably had like 3 or 4 monitors, and he was asking everyone to wave.
Oh, shut up. I know this. I know this.
He did not know which, or people wouldn't know. I couldn't tell if I was on his screen 1 or screen 2 or screen 3. So he just sort of set it up like, please just, no matter what screen I ask for, everyone wave. Logical, because that way everyone on that particular screen waves. Yeah. The people on screen 1, can you wave? And so people wave. And then he says, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. And I'm wondering, what the heck does that even mean?
Sure,
What
he
is
wasn't
this
going hee-haw,
weird?
hee-haw.
And it brought me back to that story I told you when me and my, at the
Pataf.
time, best friend Chris Giguere were in the gym, and this guy who was older than us was explaining to us how to lift weights.
Pataf.
And he was making pataf, pataf. And we started laughing so hard we had to hide our laughter from this guy because we thought he'd probably beat us up if he thinks we're making fun of him. But weird noises, that would be a pet peeve. Really strange, rapport crushing sounds.
Buddy, why have you done this? Because now we're back to what is it up at north of the city? Up at up the 400.
Meaford, Ontario?
No, the first town, Alliston.
Oh, Alliston.
We were in Alliston in the restaurant. I've said this before, and a young couple came in with obviously one of their mothers or grandmothers or something, and the woman went.
Yes.
Little musical sound. What? And then she said, okay, I'll have the bacon and tomato sandwich.
Hoo-ha!
So obviously at one point it had a meaning. It was like a or something, but it had just turned into this.
So
Funny
strange
to
stuff.
hear Crunkhorn does it. He goes,
Yeah, so there are.
okay, let's just
strange
stop
noises.
now. We don't
Yeah.
have, you give the
There's too
empowering
many.
question.
There's too many. So
let's do the empowering
hopefully we
question.
gave you some amusement here.
It's important stuff.
Where's the empower? Oh, here we go. What is your number one pet peeve, and how good will it make you feel when you tell someone about it and ventilate all those annoying feelings that have been locked up until now?
And your MetaFive, one better than a metaphor, is a very simple one today.
Thanks everybody for listening. This has been podcast episode 225. I didn't even say that at the beginning. You wrote my intro without disclosing the see, that's my pet peeve right there. This has been episode 225. Can't believe we've done 225 of these crazy freaking fun episodes. This is our work. We're at work right now. I don't know if you're at work, but hopefully you're at work while you're listening to us be at work, because that would be just amazing.
Listening to us be at work. That's just so weird, but it's true.
We'll see you in the next
Weirdly,
episode.
we're listening to us being at work too.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks again, and good night.